Sometimes people will tell us that we're behind. Hey, maybe at this age you should be doing this. Maybe at this age you should have been doing that. Well, at this age I was doing this. So, in life, people can really make a ridicule of a situation. When you're with Christ, you don't have to worry about being ahead or behind because what is for you will happen for you when it is supposed to happen for you. I used to think like that. It's a lot of mistakes I made, in my 20s and everything. But I felt like when I approached 30, and the minute that I approached 30, I had to realize that life, sometimes people will make, life a race. And they'll make you feel like, you might be behind on some things. But when it comes to Christ, when it comes to God who loves you deeply, there's no ahead or behind because there's not much of a competition as most people may think. First and foremost, always just be yourself. Be yourself through God. Because sometimes people want us to subliminally be somebody else as well, which is not always a logical thing to do. So anybody right now, if you feel like you're behind, if you feel like you should have been doing a lot of things, stop worrying. Don't worry about it. Because even when you think you're behind, you still have the right to look ahead. And sometimes people try to snatch away that right. People who work through unfortunate evil tendencies, they'll try to snatch away that right of you being who you are. I have to tell a lot of my good friends, well, a few of my good friends, my brother, sometimes people have to tell me, you're not behind, when you're with God, you're not behind. This is not a race about who's better or who's worse. I think it is very unfortunate that society can be that biased and lopsided about a lot of things. But I think that when you go through God, I know that when you go through God, things run a lot different. And I like to tell everyone that you're good where you're at. As long as you make a conscious effort to do the right thing, that's first and foremost. You're never behind. As long as you make a conscious effort to do the right thing, you are never behind. That's the first part. The first part really is doing everything through God. And your efforts will never leave you behind. Because there can be people who can be trying, but not getting very far. But day by day, everything goes slow. Like for a while, I used to see people, when I was 22, I would see people 21, 25 years old. Excuse me. They would be, what I thought was ahead. They would be entrepreneurs. They would be young businessmen, young businesswomen. Me at the time, I was still working a regular full-time job, making ends meet, barely making it. And, when I got to 28, people who were 22, 21, big-time real estate people. I met a lot of interesting people throughout life. And when I met some people, I felt like I was behind. I'm like, wow. But I just like to tell people that when you're with God, you're never behind. Because God, you're ahead as long as you follow God's plan. You never know what God has planned. God has a tendency of showing up and showing out. So I just want to tell everybody on this line, everybody, if you ever felt behind about anything, if you ever felt like you lacked in something or the other person may have had it and you don't have it, like I said, society is unfortunately biased where we can feel inferior or we can feel behind as people in any aspect of life. Some people want to be married. They feel like, maybe I'm too old, or people telling them like, oh, it's too late for you. It's never too late. It's never too late. You're never too old. It's never too soon. It's never too early. Everything is on God's time. I think if you concentrate on the clock that God gave you to follow Him, that is when most of your life is exposed to a lot of great things. Because once I started to follow God a lot more, it's not to sound bad or anything, but I didn't care about where people were in their life. And I say that because it's like I stopped worrying. When you stop worrying and you start following God, you're on His time. Wherever you are right now, I'm going to say that. that is where God wants you to be. It's something you have to finish. It's something you have to learn. I mean, I had to tell myself, I just started thinking about owning my own businesses when I was about, 28 with the help of others, 26, 27. There was some stuff I always wanted to do, but I just thought about it, and when you think about where God has you in life right now, appreciate that, because it's a great battle within there somewhere. Sometimes it's annoying, sometimes it's stressful, but wherever you are, that is where God wants you to be for a dominant reason, because he has something for you that no other human can provide, that no other job or any kind of money can provide. He has something special for you. So anybody on this line, if you feel like you're behind, or if you feel like you don't have to, some people feel like they don't even have the right to look ahead. They're so used to people telling them, or they might just be used to feeling that they're behind in different parts of life, that they don't even look ahead. I'm telling you now, you have the right to look ahead, like it says, when you are behind. You have that right. Nothing's stopped, nothing's paused, When we're here, we're here. As long as we're on this good green earth, as long as you work with God, you can do anything you want to do. So I say tonight, people, just don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay to motivate yourself. Be a tad bit tough if you need to. But don't be so hard on yourself to where as though you make yourself feel like you're not worth it, or you're worthless, or you're not where you want to be. It's okay to be hard on yourself to some extent when you tell yourself you're not where you want to be. But when it comes to, you looking at others and it's like, wow, I should have been done this, I should have been done that. There's a lot of times I told myself a lot of things, but it would not have worked out the same if I didn't go through God. We got to think about that. Think about anything in your life right now that happened late. Some people have kids late. Some people get married late. Some people didn't start their business until they were 34, 35. Some people didn't get that good job until they was about 32. I know people right out of high school. They worked for the city, the state, SEPTA, Pennsylvania Transportation Authority. I know personal people who jumped right out of high school, and it was for them. But they're still human, so they had problems along the way. Even with all that, some people can say they were high. A lot of us, unfortunately, we covet, thou shalt not covet. We covet over what other people have, and we feel like we're behind on certain things. So I tell people this. Wherever you are in your life right now, that's the part you appreciate. If you got $2 or if you got $2 million, appreciate that. If you have 2 pennies, appreciate that. If you have 2 food items for the rest of the week, appreciate that. Because that is where God is challenging you. That is where God has enough faith in you, because he created us. So he has enough faith in us to say, you know what, I know this person can handle what they're about to go through, so I'm going to allow them to go through that. And that's where there is a beauty in the struggle. There's really beauty within the struggle. Don't get too caught up on people who are not struggling, people who really don't have a lot of problems, a lot of issues. Don't get too caught up on that. You always want to be able to say, you know what, I did it. I did it. You always want to be able to say that. Like I said, people, I always share some of my stories. Anybody who know me for a long time, I've been working. I just worked. I missed out on a lot of my 20s just working, And I decided to go my own route as far as business, taking different steps. And I had to, you after a while, you leave the job. You just leave. And you have to have faith in yourself that, you know what, this is where God wants me to be. This is where my life will start. So I just tell everybody ahead of time. I don't know you. Half of you I probably never saw, but you know what? I'm honestly proud of you. I'm proud of everybody on here, especially if you have a solid, conscious effort. I'm definitely proud of you because, most people don't hear it every day. They don't know what's going on in life on a daily basis. I'm proud of you because we all got to go through that part of life to where as though we just feel like, unfortunately, we're not the best people. We're behind in life. Like, can you believe that? Somebody said that you were behind at one point. That instead of this and this, you should have been doing this. You know how many people, to all my great people out there, I hope you really listen. Like, do you know how many people said they were going to be married at a certain age? They were going to have a job. I'm pretty sure we've all been around people who say, you know what? I want to be married by this age, have a job by this age, and be financially secure by this age, and have a ton of kids by this age. And think about people where it never went like that. Because you have to go through God. I realize with everything in life, especially if you follow God, you're a Christian, you have to go through God. I cannot sit here and tell you how many things I have tried without God, and it just doesn't work out. But when you go through God, you have a solid, conscious effort as to what exactly is going on. And once you have that solid, conscious effort, conscious, I say that because you know you're trying. You know you're doing your best. So I say, people, however your life is now, that's how life is supposed to go to you. You know, I learned a big lesson with that the other night. You know, it was a really emotional moment with somebody close to me. And I actually was like a tad bit frustrated because I just wanted to see that person do good. But I had to realize that sometimes people you love, you just hate to see them go through stuff. But I had to respectfully realize that that was their life according to God. I tell you, people, once I started following God a lot more, like, a lot of things became clear to me. I'm able to talk to people differently, talk to my close friends differently, tell them about different things. So I say that to say, once again, I'm proud of everybody on here. I ain't got to know what it is. Whatever you do, whatever you want to do, whatever you have in mind, I'm definitely proud of you, because life is short, time moves pretty fast, and none of us, we shouldn't be worried. We are all children of God, so we really shouldn't be worried about who said what. Because unfortunately, it can be people close to you or people you're not that close to that can say something to defer. I know somebody that sat around for 10 years because one person told them that whatever they wanted to do, they started too late. They started too late. And he, you know, he sat around for 10 years because he believed that. So what we have to do, as much as we believe people, as much as we believe what the next human is going to say, not to disregard human life, but as much as we need to, like, not look at it sometimes, we need to believe what God is going to say. We need to believe that. We need to believe what God is going to say. We need to believe what God feels about us. Because once we do that, then God opens up different doors. God opens up different doors. Don't worry about it, people. I tell everybody now, don't worry about it. It's a lot of stuff you're going to hear in life. From 8 to 80, you're going to hear a lot of stuff. And maybe it's too late for that. Well, that's a hard job to get into. That's a hard car to get. You might have to have good credit for that car. You might need to have good credit for that house. Probably do, probably don't. But you ask God first. I tell all my great people in here, don't ever let anybody tell you how your life is going to be. They can help. They can give you opinions. And an opinion is only what they think. It doesn't mean that it's going to be that. So people, I always say, don't let the little things in life defer you. You have the right to look ahead even when you feel like you are behind. And being behind is only a God's way of teaching you a lesson. You know, you ever notice that everybody has their own watch? Everybody has their own bracelet with a watch connected to it. Why do you think they sell more than one watch? Why do you think they sell more than one clock? Because everybody has their own time. Imagine if the world just waited for one person to get ahead. Imagine if the world stopped if they felt like one person was behind. Like, how would it be a world? How would we be a conjunction of different people if everybody was doing the same thing? This is what we have to ask ourselves. How do we put that together? That's what you got to ask yourself. How would this be planet Earth? How would we get a chance to meet people if we all were the same, if we all did the same thing? You know, and then look how great it is when you run into somebody. When you run into somebody the same time they were there. Somebody you ain't seen in years, somebody you haven't seen in years, somebody you haven't seen in months, somebody you haven't, you know, somebody you didn't think you would even ever see again at all. That's why I say people imagine that, because life is just not happening. You know, it's happening for a purpose. But as people, we just have to pick what purpose it might be. We have to place it in the category we feel like it's supposed to be in, because God will give you the subtitle, but you got to place it in the category where you're supposed to be. And God has provided enough wisdom for you to be like, okay, you know what? This needs to stay here. This needs to stay here, and this will probably stay here because I don't need this in my life anymore. That's why I say we are all great. If you are through God, you are great. So don't ever feel like you set yourself back. You know, we are our biggest enemy. We are our own failures, because a lot of stuff is presented to us, and at times as people we become inferior to certain things. So when I hit on here, great people, like, just always know you're great, you're going to make it, and whatever you're going through in life, wherever point you are at in life, embrace that moment, because that's what I did. That's what people I know did. Because now when you look back at it, I'm telling you, you're going to fall in love with who you become. You know, it might be an ugly 21. It might be an ugly 19. It might be ugly 25, you know, as far as the year. Them years just might be ugly or rough. When I was 25, it was super rough. I had a lot of, you know, lessons happen to me, a lot of crazy experiences. And then also, when I was around about maybe 27, another rough experience. I will never forget those years, because those years, they brought me into 30. Now I can learn more new things. There's going to be more new lessons. It just don't stop. But now you're able to conduct yourself through God and show the world, not just your block, not just a few people, not just the state, not even just the country. You are able to show the world, okay, this is who I am. And this is what I choose to embrace. Embrace the bad moments, embrace the lessons, embrace the moments where you think life is at a standstill. You know, just embrace everything. You are more ahead than what you think, believe me. It might feel like you're behind according to things around you or what people say you may feel like you're behind, but you are a lot farther ahead than what you think as long as you stick with God. Now, when you don't stick with God, sometimes you can be behind on stuff because His plan is always ahead. God's plan is always ahead for you. So sometimes if you knowingly or unknowingly choose a route that does not involve God, yes, you probably will be behind due to the fact that His plan is always ahead. We got to think He knew who we were before we even came out of the womb. Before we were even created, He knew what we were going to be, how far along in life we were going to do certain things. He knew that already. And also, people, I just want to also pray for anybody that's sick, anybody that really can't move, can't get around like they used to. We want to continue to pray. As far as the holidays coming up, this is usually a tough time of the year for people. It's also sometimes a happy time of the year for people. Anybody who's sick, shut in, anybody that might be in the shelter, anybody living on the streets. You know, anybody that might have got some bad news from the doctor, we want to keep those people in our prayers and high spirits. We just want to continue to pray for everybody around us, everybody we know, and we want to continue to pray for everybody we don't know. You know, as a lot of the college kids, they travel back and forth to back and forth to college. anybody that's traveling during the holidays or even starting to travel. And we want to go out with a bang. We want to go out with a good bang for this year. We just want to bless all the states that's listening, all the counties, all the cities, all the countries, everybody that's listening. Continue to pass the word on, continue to keep us together. And as I said, people, you are a lot farther ahead than what you can imagine. Because once God shows up and shows out, when he blesses us, it's always unbelievable because of where we thought we were going to be. Some of us, we just got to wait and see. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.